In the age of the algorithm, knowing is only half the battle. This is AI and World War III.
You know, there's a new global arms race happening right now. But this time, it's not about who has the most tanks or ships. Nope. It's about who has the smartest, fastest algorithms. We are officially in an algorithmic crucible, and we're about to break down what this new high-stakes competition really means for all of us. Okay, to really get what's at stake here, you have to wrap your head around this idea. We've moved past the old Cold War two-player chess match. Experts are now calling this the third nuclear era. Forget the old rules of deterrence. The game is faster now. It involves more players with nuclear weapons, and it's way, way more unpredictable. So what does this new battlefield even look like? Well, it's a battle being fought with speed, data, and code. The future of warfare isn't about industrial might anymore. It's being written in algorithms. It's all about computational superiority. What's really changed? Well, for one, we've gone from that bipolar world to this volatile, tripolar dynamic between the US, China, and Russia. And here's the kicker. Artificial intelligence is shrinking the time we have to make life or death decisions, from hours or minutes down to seconds. That speed changes everything. All right, let's talk about the first big player on this new board, China. And you have to understand, they aren't just dabbling in AI. They've built an entire military doctrine around it. It's a concept they call intelligentization. Now, intelligentization isn't just about building smarter weapons. Think of it as cognitive warfare. The whole point is to use AI to basically get inside your opponent's head, to short-circuit their decision-making loop, confuse them, paralyze them, and maybe even win a conflict by controlling how they see reality before a single shot is even fired. So what does that look like in the real world? Well, the People's Liberation Army is going all in. They're actively developing AI to boost everything from their command and control, that's C2, to their intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, or ISR. The goal is simple: make their entire military machine faster, way more precise, and, in their view, less vulnerable to human error. Okay, so that's a pretty radical shift. How is the United States responding to this new landscape? Well, a huge part of their answer is this really bold, some might even say radical, new program called the Replicator Initiative. At its heart, Replicator is all about one thing: speed. I mean, forget taking decades to develop a new weapon system. The whole idea here is to grab the amazing innovation that's happening in the commercial tech world and get it into the hands of warfighters at a massive scale and incredibly fast. So how in the world did they move that fast? Well, they're basically flipping the old Pentagon model on its head. It starts with identifying a really urgent problem. Then they go out and find the best solution from tech startups, use special acquisition powers to slice through all the red tape and get it deployed. We're talking about going from a contract to actual use in just a few months. That's a pace that was just unthinkable before. And this isn't just theory. We have a perfect real-world example right here. The very first thing bought under the Replicator Initiative was this, the Drone Hunter. And it does exactly what it sounds like. It's an AI-guided drone that literally hunts down and catches other drones with a net. It's a creative, super effective solution to a modern problem, and it was fielded at unbelievable speed. Okay, so initiatives like Replicator get us to the very heart of this competition. But you have to understand, this isn't a race where both sides are just building bigger versions of the same thing. No, the US and China each have totally different or asymmetric advantages. To really get the state of play right now, you gotta look at where each side is strong. The US has this massive lead in the foundational tech, the high-end computer chips that are the brains behind any AI. But China, they have two very different strengths: an absolutely enormous pool of data to train their AIs on, and this just unparalleled ability to mass-produce hardware, like drones, at a scale that's hard to even imagine. So, it really boils down to this. Right now, America leads in the intelligence, the quality and sophistication of the AI's brain. China, on the other hand, leads in diffusion, their ability to manufacture and roll out that technology across their military in huge numbers super fast. And why does this matter? Well, it means a future conflict could look like a handful of highly intelligent US systems going up against a massive swarm of Chinese ones. Okay, now we have to talk about the most dangerous part of all this. What happens when this lightning-fast algorithmic arms race collides with the immense world-ending power of nuclear weapons? And to even begin that conversation, you need to know about NC3. That stands for Nuclear Command, Control, and Communications. This is the gigantic, unbelievably complex network that lets a country's leader actually command their nuclear forces. This thing has to be the most reliable system ever built by humans, period. Because for decades, global peace has literally been balanced on it never, ever failing. And at the absolute core of NC3 is this simple but incredibly profound principle. This system has to be perfect. There is zero margin for error. It has to guarantee that the weapons are used when they are ordered, and it must, without fail, prevent them from ever being used when they are not. And that brings us to the question that keeps military strategists and world leaders awake at night. What happens when you introduce a technology that's famous for its speed, but also for its unpredictability, into a system that demands absolute, unwavering certainty? The risks here are, and I'm not exaggerating, terrifying. AI could shrink the time a president has to make a nuclear launch decision down to just a few seconds, which makes real human deliberation pretty much impossible. An AI could be hacked, or it could misread data. It could blur the line between a conventional attack and a nuclear one, potentially kicking off a catastrophic, machine-speed escalation that no one can stop. You see, all of this funnels down into one central massive paradox for our time. As warfare gets faster and more complicated, how do we make sure a human being actually stays in charge? And this is where it gets really scary. On one hand, you have world leaders publicly agreeing that a human being must always make the final call on using a nuclear weapon. But on the other hand, the reality is this intense arms race, where the pressure to deploy AI to get a strategic edge might just be overriding any concerns about safety. There's a huge, dangerous gap between what's being said and what's actually being done. And that really leaves us with this one final, deeply unsettling question. When events are unfolding in microseconds and an AI is making recommendations, is meaningful human control even possible anymore? Or are we building systems that will one day force our hands, pushing us toward a future that none of us ever wanted?
The code has been written. Subscribe to A World with AI before the loop closes.